Welcome to Make Ready with the Experts, your go-to podcast for Make Ready TV. I'm your host, Fernando Coelho. Sit back and enjoy as we delve into the gun world and talk with experts in their given fields of expertise. I'm here with Caleb Giddings from Taurus USA, and we're going to be talking some stuff about the gun industry, what Taurus is doing, and just stuff you may be interested in, or not, but that's okay. Caleb, thank you for coming out.
That's my pleasure. You know, I like being able to get out of the office on occasion. Even if my office is in my house, it's still nice to look at 4 different walls than the ones that I see all of the time. So thank you.
Well, we're lucky because you're not that far away from us, so you could always come down and harass us on new products or stuff that we're not supposed to post, but we still may post anyway and tell people about. Talking about Taurus handguns. I've been in the industry now 30 years. And one of the first guns, going back to when I first was carrying at 18 in New York, my dad had a Taurus PT99 semi-auto with adjustable sights. And I never forgot that pistol. And after my dad passed away, I got that pistol. So I've always had an appreciation for the Taurus handguns and the Taurus revolvers as well. Now, reputations, some gun companies are considered like the premium and everyone must have that particular gun, that high-end expensive gun. But then there's the regular gun folks that will buy. What are they going to buy?
Well, you know, we own the entry-level gun consumer, right? The first-time gun purchase, the first concealed carry gun. Many of them have a Taurus, and they usually have either our super popular G2C or the upgraded and improved G3C. You know, I go out in public and, you know, this is picking up my kid from school, flying on planes, stuff like that, chatting idle conversations with people, and they find out where I work, and they will tell me, oh my gosh, I love my Taurus, and it's always one of 2 models. It's either I love my Taurus G3C, it was the first gun I got when I started to conceal carry, I still have it, I still carry it, I love it. Or they will say, I love my Judge. That is, I probably get the Judge one more often because people who own Judges love them. But yeah, I hear it all the time. People will say, I've got this Taurus, I've had it for years and I love it. You know, I hear it about the small frame revolvers too, the 856s. I'll hear a lot of people talking about how they've had the predecessor to the 856 was the Taurus 85, which was, you know, almost a 1-to-1 for a 38 special J frame in terms of size and stuff like that. And I'll hear people say, oh yeah, my dad had a Taurus 85 and he gave it to me and I've had it for 20 years. So, you know, they get these guns and they are, you know, it's their first gun or maybe their second gun, and then they keep them forever. They don't actually flood the retail or the secondary market with them.
I think it's a different audience. You have the customers out there that they're into the Gucci gear. They want to buy the high end, and they're going to buy multiple high end. They're going to flip that high end, and it's going to end up on Gun Broker. They're going to go buy another one, and then all of a sudden they haven't even shot the first one, but then they saw a new one in a magazine. They got to go out and buy that one.
And God bless those people, because I bought a lot of really cool guns off of Gun Broker when that guy needed to make a car payment. So, you know, please keep doing that because I like to buy fun guns. But, you know, what's interesting is to me, what makes a gun or a thing Gucci isn't the price point. It's, does it do the thing that I would need it to do, right? So I have one of our Taurus Model 82 revolvers. It's the one that's in my Make Ready video that I shot with you guys. And that gun, as of right now, has almost 10,000 rounds on it. That gun, if you go to a gun store, costs $300, $350. That gun's Gucci because I can take it and I can put 10,000 rounds through it, and it is almost exactly the same as the brand new one that I have sitting in my safe as a backup, which I've never used because I didn't break the original one.
Right.
So, you know, and then, so I get it. You know, people like to buy things that are expensive. I like to buy things that are expensive. I like to buy, you know, nice stuff. I like to fly first class. But there's also a very valuable place for buying things that work. And my thought process on all of our products is that anybody who wants a gun for personal protection deserves to have one that works, whether or not they've got $250 for a G3C or $2,500 for a Wilson Combat. You deserve to have a reliable gun that works. And I am happy to sell the $250 ones. And then But we all, and then, to move people through that product line, because we have the GX series now, which costs, MSRP is like $500 on the new one. That's normal gun pricing. We have the executive grade guns on the revolver side. Those are $600, $900. They're what people sort of think of when they think of not affordable guns, but they still work just fine. And they're still much more affordable than you would see from a competitor in that space because of, we have a lot of manufacturing efficiencies built into the organization.
That makes sense. And another thing that's important is when it comes to the regular gun owner, the person that's going to carry a gun for self-defense, they're not the USPSA, IDPA competitive shooter.
Not often, no. They may become that at some point. But
eventually.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be the kind of guys that are going to gravitate towards 10,000 rounds a year. Hell, 100 rounds a month would be like, wow, unless they're going out with their friends to go shooting. But these are the same people that will buy a handgun to defend themselves. And if they're going to buy, in my opinion, if they're going to buy a Taurus, it's no different than them trying to go out there and buying a SIG or a Glock or whatever the other brands are, because that Taurus is going to work just as good, if not better than some of these other guns, because I've seen a lot of high-end guns choke on the range.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're talking about commodity guns, right? So guns that are designed for personal protection that aren't collector's items, right? Like I'm not going to, it would be disingenuous of me as the marketing manager to say that you should buy a Taurus 1911 instead of a Wilson Combat. And that's not knocking our gun. It's that the Wilson Combat is a completely different thing. It's like comparing a Kia to a Ferrari. The Ferrari is largely hand built. There's a lot of different stuff going on with it than you get with a mass market production gun. But I would 100% say buy one of our 1911s instead of, say, I don't want people to think I'm talking bad about another manufacturer, but comparing a Taurus 1911 to a Wilson doesn't make sense. Comparing the Taurus G3, our medium frame striker fired polymer gun, to a 320 or a Glock 19 does make sense, because the point of the gun is the same thing. It's a commodity. It is a plastic framed striker fired 9mm gun manufactured for personal protection, home defense, or law enforcement use, right? So at that point, you're not comparing the Kia to a Ferrari, you're comparing the Kia to the Toyota, to the Honda, to other equivalent brands in the space.
That makes sense. And to give credit to the 1911 from Taurus, I've always been a 1911 guy. So since 18, my first pistol was a Colt Series 80 stainless steel 1911. I can say that being in the gun industry this long, yes, I have my Paul Liebenberg 1911 and my Les Baer 1911 and my Ed Brown. But when I'm on the range and I'm shooting a Taurus 1911, I'm at 20 yards, I'm at 15 yards, I'm at 10 yards. I'm drawing from the same holster. The gun works. Yes, I have aftermarket grips on it, but the gun works just like my high-end 1911s, my $3,000, my $4,000 1911s. Is it as smooth? No.
No, the slide doesn't glide like it's on,
Is it finish? Is it a Robar NP3 finish on it? No. But does the gun work? Yes. Does it choke? No. Does it work all the time? Yes. Do I put shit ammo in it? Sometimes, and it still works.
Yeah.
Now, I can say that my higher-end 1911s, they could be ammo picky. So I've never had a Taurus 1911 choke on me.
I think mine, I have one of our 1911s because I try to have, representative samples of our guns. And I think mine didn't like to feed, it was the weirdest thing. It wouldn't feed federal HSTs, which whatever, some 1911s don't like hollow points.
Yeah.
But it would feed the 200 grain lead semi-wad cutter bullet from Black Hills. And I'm looking at it like, this is the worst bullet shape ever. How is this working in this gun?
Yeah.
So, but that's, and 1911s are also kind of their own thing, right?
Yeah,
like they're 1911 people, that's its own chunk of the market. When you look at our mass market handguns, the G3C, the G3 full size, the GX4, and the new GX4 carry, we're making a ton of guns, and we're consistently in the top, 5 of guns sold on Gunbroker, like the G3C especially. And I mean, the fact of the matter is that we make a gun that you can get at retail for like $250, especially in the market right now, where everybody's discount.
Yeah.
We make a gun that you can get at retail for $250 that will feed modern hollow point ammunition, feed whatever ball ammo you put in it, has a pretty good trigger, and it works. And like the little things that we've done with the line, like all of the G3 series pistols now use what I like to refer to in our marketing lingo as industry standard sight dovetails, which for the people watching, if you see that in any Taurus thing that's a code, it means Glock sight dovetails. And why did we go with that? Because I can get a million different Glock sights.
Yeah.
And now we don't use plastic sights, we actually use steel sights in those inserts, so the sights are fine. For most users, the sights will be fine. But then for users like me, I can be like, oh, cool, pop those off, put on a set of Savigny sights, put on a set of Warren sights, something like that, have the sights that I want on my gun, and I can do it with tools that I probably already had because everybody has owned a Glock and gotten rid of the crappy Glock sights at some point.
Makes sense, makes total sense. And now you also gone to the optic plate.
Exactly, yeah.
So now you can run pretty much any optic.
Yeah, absolutely. So the new gun, the GX4 Carry, is pretty ingenious how it's set up. So it's milled. So we decided some manufacturers have wanted to do like support as many footprints as possible, right? I can understand that. I think that you can make a valid case for that. We looked at what people actually buy, and the most common selling small format pistol optics either have the Shield RMSC footprint or the Holosun K series footprint, so the 507K, the 407K. So we just direct milled the slide for that. So if you have a Holosun, so it is there's no adapter plate, no nothing. You take your optic and you put it on, and it threads directly into the slide on the new GX4 Carry. And on my GX4 Carry, I have a Holosun 507K on there. You get a lower third co-witness on the factory iron sights as well. So I don't have to get suppressor height sights for my small carry gun. So we do things like that are, one, manufacturing efficiencies, because it's cheaper to mill the gun directly for the optic than it is to create 37 adapter plates and have different holes like Swiss cheese through your slide where the different screws are going to go. So that creates a manufacturing efficiency for us, but it also is responsive to what consumers are actually doing. We're not like, God bless the 8 million optics companies out there and their 8 million footprints, but if 85% of optics sold are Holosun K series footprints or Shield RMSC footprints, then that's what I need to be cutting my slides for. And I would I deeply apologize to the guy who has the optic that doesn't have that footprint. Sorry. Right. Go get a Holosun.
Well, yeah,
there's that, yeah.
So talking about optics, Taurus has done something that no one else has ever done.
Oh yeah, the revolvers. I was like, what was the thing that we did? So last year we launched this year, because it was at SHOT Show, but that feels like 6 years ago, we launched the Toro revolvers. So we took our two most popular small frame revolvers, the 856 and the 605. 856 is a 6-shot 38, 605 5-shot 357, and we milled the top strap for a direct attachment optics plate, which is, again, Holosun K series Shield RMSC footprint, because that's what people are buying is optics with those footprint. And then just a few months ago, we launched the Judge Toro as well. So like I said earlier, when people find out that I work for Taurus, they say, I love my Judge, right? And the idea of putting an optic on the Judge, it makes a ton of sense, because your real world shooting scenarios that the Judge is getting employed in are fast snapshots up close at like small dangerous animals, right? Snakes, things like that. So if I can just throw the gun up and I've got a big circle of a red dot and I can throw that over what I'm trying to shoot and just whack that trigger, that works really well. And so yeah, we did a direct mount plate for all three of these guns, and there will be more Toro guns to come in the future for sure. We're not stopping with just 38s and Judges. I'm gonna put red dots on everything.
So wait a minute. So are you saying that there may be a Raging Hunter with a dot?
Well, I mean, the Raging Hunter has a rail on it, so you can put a dot on that anyway.
Yeah. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yeah, I will give you that.
Mine has a an Acro P2 on, or is it a P1? I forget. It's got an Acro on it, whichever one. But yeah, I have it forward on the rail a little bit, and it's fantastic.
So I have to ask, you came out with a revolver the size of a Volkswagen. Okay.
Yes.
It has a barrel length about
10.5 inches.
Is it just feels like 107?
It is very long.
It's long. And then you have a compensator at the end, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And it works great.
It does really.
It really does. The Raging Hunter 460 10-inch is the gun you're talking about. And the comp on it, when you're shooting full house 460 rounds, the best way I can explain it is it takes the 460 and makes it feel like you're shooting a 44 out of like a 6-inch gun, right? So it makes the 460 more pleasant to shoot, especially if you're actually shooting the gun. If you're standing next to me while I'm shooting the gun, it's terrible,
right?
Because that break will rattle your fillings right out. But yeah, it makes it a lot more fun to shoot. And you know, as like a fun thing, you can put like really hot 45 Colts in there, and it goes bip 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 bip.
Nice.
But the advantage of that 10-inch barrel is we are getting near rifle velocities out of the 460, right? We're pushing over 2,000 feet per second out of some loads with, you know, a 300 grain bullet. The thing, it is a monster of a cartridge. I mean, it's already a monster of a cartridge, but it's basically an SBR is what it is, right? It is an SBR without a stock because you've got a 10.5-inch barrel on there, and you can do some really cool stuff with that.
So what you're saying is that is really what, if you want to go out hunting with a handgun, that's the revolver to take.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's got some other, you know, thoughtful touches on it that we built up for hunters. Like there is a rail on the bottom of it, not for you to put like a hand grip on, but so that you can attach it to a bipod. So if you're out, you know, and you want to get a stable shooting position, or you can throw your shooting sticks on there and drop it down on the sticks. So there's a lot more that you can do with it than just carry it around and brace it off a tree.
Makes sense. That makes total sense. I like the concept of it because now you are able to use a handgun cartridge, a revolver cartridge, and something that is now, like you said, is pushing rifle velocities.
Yeah.
So now you're talking about bigger game or wilder game up close.
Well, my boss shot a Cape Buffalo with one.
No shit.
Yeah. There's a great, if your viewers are interested, go look up the By the Horns podcast, our in-house podcast, where he talks about it. And I mean, it is a near contact distance shot. It is, the whole story like makes me sweat when I'm hearing him tell it. So yeah, shot one with with one of our 460s in Africa. Wild.
Dang. I can see that. All right. Well, revolvers. Okay. We're now putting optics on revolvers. No one's doing that.
Nope.
The polymer handguns, you have pretty locked in now. What do you have coming out? I mean, we have 2024 ahead of us. What does Taurus have on the horizon that customers should be looking forward to that you could tell us?
Well, so I can't give them specifics, but last year we launched as a brand Taurus Hunt, and we have the hunting revolvers in there. We launched that to really get in touch with a part of the community that we haven't necessarily historically been a part of or been necessarily viewed as. You know, we own the entry-level gun purchase market. We own concealed carry guns, but with Taurus Hunt, we were really looking to get more in touch with hunters, with outdoorsmen and stuff like that. So a good launch strategy is to launch the big brand one year, and then the next year maybe have some products that fit into that brand. So we're going to go ahead and call that a clue. So we have things that are coming in that hunt category that we haven't done before that I think it's really going to blow people's minds when they see the thoughtfulness that we've put into some of the stuff that's coming out next year. And that's really kind of the big part of this brand story, right? Is that what we're doing, we're not just like looking at a sheet of paper and thinking, all right, what can I throw at these people to sell some more guns, right? We have, over the time that I have either been consulting or working there, We've had multiple product summits where we bring in subject matter experts from around the industry and we take them through our product lines and we say, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? If I gave you a blank sheet of paper and, a stack of money, what would you build? What would you want to see? Where could we be more competitive, right? It was one of those meetings that brought about the 856 executive grade. We had another one and we're going to be bringing in some new products based on that meeting. So the message here isn't just that we're making cool stuff, because we are making really cool stuff, but it's what I really want people to understand is that when we're making these new products, it's not just in a vacuum. We are actually going to the subject matter experts and finding out what they want, what they need in a carry gun, what they need in a revolver, and then we're taking those and we're like, all right, because sometimes subject matter experts can also be gun nerds, myself, am the worst sinner of that. And we say, all right, here are all the great ideas. How can we combine these and get as many of these smart features into a product that we can also sell to someone who is making maybe their second or third gun buy? So a lot of stuff along those lines, a lot of thoughtful stuff, a lot of really cool stuff. And then, for people who don't know, Taurus USA is part of an umbrella of companies, right? So Taurus Manufacturing Incorporated, we own, Taurus International owns Rossi USA and Heritage Manufacturing as well. And we have some really neat stuff coming out on Rossi next year. Very cool stuff that I'm very excited to see. We have a passion project of mine that's going to be coming out under Heritage. It's a great project, and I'm really excited to see it through to the finish line. I think that a lot of people who know what I'm into when it comes to handguns are going to be excited to see this as well. So lots of new products, lots of innovation, but again, thinking about it too. It's not just quick build a $350 9mm that works. Do that, but also put features into it that people want. Things like co-witnessing the sights, adjustable back straps, and doing it in a way that the gun retains its affordability, but doesn't sacrifice in terms of reliability or performance.
And from what I've seen that you're going to be coming out with, because thankfully being in the industry and we work together.
You get some of the leaks, yeah.
And we get to film some of this stuff before it comes out. I think personally, the direction that Taurus is going is the way Taurus should be going.
Well, thank you. I think so too.
And I think the customers are going to love what you're doing. I think they're going to be able to purchase in new categories that they were not used to purchasing before. Mm-hmm. And it's just going to expand the Taurus brand for them. And I have a feeling that they're really going to like what's coming out. So I'm excited for 2024 and beyond for Taurus and for you. And I just want people to know out there that when they're out there going to get a revolver for a concealed carry, a striker-fired semi-auto or single-action semi-auto, whatever it is, Taurus should be what they're looking at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. I obviously 100% agree with that. And, the kind of the mindset that we have too is that we're really trying to, at least I am within the marketing side, I'm trying to root out some of the industry stuff that, we've all seen over the years where people will say, oh, you should, carry this gun and that, and then maybe they don't actually carry that gun, or maybe they carry a different gun, or they don't carry a gun at all. Since I started with Taurus, I have only carried Taurus guns. Like, I'm not just telling people to buy a Taurus and then not backing it up. I've been sitting here doing this interview with you with a G3 Toro. Last time I was down here, I was carrying an 856 executive grade. So it is, I am quite literally putting my money where my mouth is, and so does everybody else on my team. And that's something that, that's something I'm genuinely proud of.
It's safe to say that your team are all gun people.
Yeah, yes. We have been really trying hard to hire people who are gun people, who are knowledgeable about the space, and then people that we've hired that may be external to the industry. We do things like at our great big annual sales meeting this year, get all our sales reps in from across the country. We brought in Chuck Haggard to teach a revolver class to these guys, because what better way to get someone to sell a revolver than have one of the preeminent revolver experts teach them a class on what makes revolvers cool. We just had Matt Little, former Green Beret Chicago SWAT guy, do a FAM class for a bunch of our engineers about shooting semi-autos better. Not a lot of manufacturers are doing stuff like that.
I like that. That's very cool. And I have to admit, being in the industry as long as I have, I've met more executives that are golfers than actual shooters.
Very proficient golfers.
Yes. Oh, they love that shit. Yeah. And then you really upset them when you mentioned that's a waste of a good rifle range. Or why don't we shoot those golf balls instead of actually hit them with a stupid stick?
I wouldn't know. I've never played I'm pretty good. I got a mean putt game, but I've never played a round of actual golf in my life. But yeah, no. And to that point, I was a shooter. I got into the gun industry because I wanted to shoot more. Now, ironically, I don't shoot as much as I used to, but that's the curse. But my boss, our CEO, he's a shooter, he's a hunter. You know, there's lifelong hunters, lifelong shooters throughout the company in positions that might surprise people as well. But, you know, when you have people relatively high up on the leadership food chain who are you're active in the training community, active competitors, you know, big time Africa hunters, that makes a difference because it creates an infectious mindset that bleeds down through the products. You know, when we are making let's say hypothetically we were making a competition oriented revolver, who better to have than someone who actually competes with a revolver?
Absolutely.
Who can say, hey, wait a minute, no, let's do this. And then the engineers say, hey, well, we can't do that because it costs this much money and we don't want to fine, but what about this? You know, that's really where we're at right now. And it's honestly, it's been really fun for me to work here. But just seeing the level of thought that goes into these products from my boss's seat all the way down to the people building them has been awesome.
That's outstanding. And it's nice to see that Taurus is gun owners for gun owners.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, and that's what I like to see in brands in our industry, because unfortunately that is not the norm in our industry.
No.
So, and the regular people out there don't understand that.
Yeah.
You know, so they'll see a gun in a magazine and they'll see a gun writer talk about that wonderful gun, and that gun was engineered by people that are not gun guys, looking at costs and trying to do it on the cheap, but charging a super premium for a gun that may not be all that good.
Yeah.
You know, whereas at least with what I see at Taurus, it's all quality stuff at a price people can afford. And that honestly means they should just get more to the range and shoot more.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well, and I did a whole series of talking points about this where the fact is that our guns are affordable, but they're reliable. You know, we have Taurus as an organization is extremely vertically integrated. We outsource a very small number of parts in any one of the guns that we make. And how, you know, you've been around for 30 years, you've heard people say 2 is 1, 1 is none all the time, right?
Yeah.
You can do that with our brand reasonably. I can go out and I can buy a gun to carry, and I can buy an identical gun to train with and shoot until, you know, the wheels fall off of it, and I'm out $700-800, right? I can go put a pair of Hollow Suns on them and I'm out another $500. So for $1,300, I can get 2 guns and 2 optics, whereas with other manufacturers, that $1,300 gets me a gun and an optic, maybe?
Yeah, or not.
Or not, right. And I mean, you know, this isn't something we talk about a lot either, but a lot of our guns are for personal protection. And God forbid you have to use this gun for its purpose. It's going to go sit in an evidence locker for some amount of time that is greater than 0. And, you know, do you want your $3,500 Wilson Combat to sit in an evidence locker and rust?
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously that's sort of an extreme case, but at the same time, if you have to use this gun and you have that backup that's already pre-purchased, you can go home and you're not carrying a gun. There's no break time where you're like, oh, well, the police have my gun. I guess I just won't carry for the next 3 days, even though I just shot a violent criminal and maybe he's got friends and I'm worried about them coming after me. So there are advantages to affordability, especially in our case where it doesn't compromise reliability.
Well, I think it also lends to, it's like when you say, if you have tools, you don't have just one tool, you have multiple tools, right? So if you're only going to have one handgun, well, I feel bad for you, because a person should have multiple handguns, because you may have one that you want to use just to go to the range.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could be a 22. But then you're going to have another one you're going to take to the range, which is comparable to the one you carry. Then you can have one, maybe you leave at home that has an optic on it, that has a light on it. Maybe you can also have a revolver. So what I like about the Taurus brand is you can go into many different areas, have many different handguns, very affordably.
Oh yeah.
Without breaking the bank.
Well, and just to use the G3 as an example, right? Our full size, 15, 17 round semi-automatic pistol, right? I'm carrying one right now. I have one in one of those Hornady RFID safes on my nightstand, and then I have one that I'm taking to matches. And that one, I'm going to pile up the round count on the one that I take to matches. The other two, I'm going to shoot, periodically to make sure. So, just to make sure. But I can do all of that. And again, I haven't, one of the things that I do is when I get these guns to test them and beat them up on my own personal social media and stuff like that, I actually buy them. So I don't, I could go to the factory and be like, hey, ship me a G3 Tactical or something like that. But this last year where I did it with two of our 38 Special revolvers, I bought them from an online web store. And I do that because I don't want people to get the idea that I'm somehow getting like prepped guns.
Sure.
Right? Like I'm not like combing through the shelves in Georgia being like, that one and that one. No, I literally bought all of these G3s that I have from an internet retailer. Had them shipped to my FFL, did the transfers. My FFL must hate me because I'm in there all the time doing transfers. But no, none of these guns are prepped or anything like that. And the other day, I was out at the range and I'm ringing a piece of steel at 50 yards with one. It's a $350 gun.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand too. You buy a Taurus gun, striker-fired semi-auto pistol, they're fucking accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every single one of our guns that I've had as a shooter, I haven't had one where I was like, this doesn't, never had any issues. And I will say part of that too is I feed my guns good ammo, right? Like I'm not out there buying steel cased, garbage, Soviet block, whatever. The guns will feed some, not all of it. Some of that stuff is really bad, but I tend to, once I find a round that my gun likes, I'm just going to buy this by the pallet now. So that helps. It certainly does. But, the guns feed everything.
That's what I like about the Taurus pistols. I want to say that they're for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everyone can afford them. Everyone can run them. And you can still buy extras. And then when Taurus does come out with something new, you can afford to buy that too.
I use the Kia analogy intentionally, right? Because we're both old enough to remember when Kias were dogs.
Yeah.
They were terrible. You didn't want to buy one. You only bought one if you couldn't afford like a bike. So, but now you look at the Kia / Hyundai lineup, you've got cars like the GT, the Stinger. They've got their whole up-branded line of like luxury cars. I was driving around, this Hyundai, they make the Genesis. I was driving around in a Genesis the other day and I'm like, it's really nice in here. So if a brand can move its perception from a budget brand to a brand that people buy because they make a nice, reliable product that also feels good to sit in, so can we. And I think we have. I think if there's one takeaway I'd leave people with, it's that we've done that. This is not the Taurus of old that had a bad reputation. If you look at our product lineup, it is competitive on performance and features with every other major manufacturer out there. And we make way more guns than most of those guys. We are the largest importer of firearms to the United States of America. So we make so many guns. So many guns.
Well, I agree. In the time period I've been in the industry, I've seen Taurus from when I first got in the industry till today. And the Taurus from back then is not the Taurus of today. And the Taurus of today is light years ahead of where Taurus was before. And it's not that it was bad before, but it's better now.
Yeah. And we did have some products that well,
everyone has.
The Curve. Sorry. I'm allowed to publicly badmouth the Curve, I think.
Well, everyone has had their dogs. And every major manufacturer at one point or another has had something that they wish they didn't come out with.
But what's funny about the Curve specifically is the Curve's a good example of one thing that Taurus has always been good at, is we are completely unafraid to try new things. And sometimes the end result is a gun that's bent like this so that you can carry it more easily if you're right-handed, and that's not such a great idea. And other times the result is the Toro revolver.
Yes.
So you'll never get the cool new thing if you're not afraid to try the cool new thing, you know. And not every idea maybe deserves to go to production, but I am being part of a company that is willing to take risks in terms of product development is a lot of fun.
Well, I think everyone out there should give Taurus a shot. And
Hell yeah.
for those out there that maybe don't own a Taurus, go to the gun store, go to an indoor range, try a Taurus out. You will not go wrong. In fact, for what you're going to spend on a Taurus, I think everyone should go out there and buy a Taurus, because what they're going to realize is, damn, you've been spending a lot of money on stuff that maybe you shouldn't have in the past. And maybe now you could have 3 guns versus that one that you can't shoot worth the shit anyway. So get some other guns.
Buy more guns.
Yeah, exactly. And ammo to go with those guns, because you need to shoot these damn things.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for coming out.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate the time. And we'll be filming a lot more stuff in the very near future with a lot new guns.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love doing this. This is fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Be sure to visit MakeReady.tv and subscribe today. You'll have access to all our exclusive videos streaming to you on any device, anywhere, anytime.